Boom.
What's up, guys? Rick from Boom Fantasy talking about week 4 waivers and streamers. I'm actually streaming right now in the Boom Fantasy app. It's free to download. Android, Apple devices. What are you waiting for? Jackpot contest up to $1 million. So get on that. I'm going to talk about waivers, and there's going to be no running backs this week, and that's because running back is a desert. And it goes back to what I talk about earlier in the season, where we want to stack up on running backs in our draft. And that's not because running backs are superior players or have the chance to be the top scorer. It's because we get to this point in the season, we go to free agency, and there are just no backs available. They've all been scooped up because the nature of injuries and committees and underperformers and unexpected setbacks for certain players. And here we are where I'm not going to tell you to go pick up Darren Sproles because I don't think it's super viable, right? But I do have a couple of players worth using a waiver spot on, adding to your squad, help you win a couple of games this season because bye weeks just around the corner. Your depth is going to get tested, and you're going to need a deeper roster with playable players to help you win games in the midseason. So let's get to it. The first name is Tyler Boyd, and he's a name we brought up on our Sunday show because he's the most targeted receiver for Andy Dalton when he's under pressure. That's who he goes to when he's in trouble, and that's a huge sign for us when we're looking for sleeper targets, right? Tyler Boyd is getting an insane snap share. That's where we first noticed him because it wasn't John Ross as the second receiver. It was Tyler Boyd out-snapping him almost 2-1, and now the production follows, right? Not only did he have a nice game on Sunday, but AJ Green got kind of banged up. That can only elevate Boyd's role in an offense that is already exceeding expectations. The Bengals have a soft schedule over the next several weeks. Boyd is a very solid wide receiver to add. I want to talk about Kenny Golladay for just a second because I talked about him last week, and if you didn't pick him up, you might be too late. Another strong game last week against the Patriots, and there's a strong chance that all 3 Lions starting receivers could finish with over 1,000 yards. That would be bonkers, but it is not out of the question. Golladay is mega talented, and it's very clear that the Lions want to get him the ball. I hope you didn't miss the boat, but if you didn't, you can get on board, pick him up right meow. The last name I'm really excited about is Dallas Goedert, and it's not because necessarily of Goddard. It's more of what's going on around him. The return of Carson Wentz and the lack of weapons in Philadelphia. Because Alshon Jeffrey's out, Matt Collins out, there's really only Aguilar at wide receiver. The Eagles are at a dearth of talent. And they want to protect Carson Wentz, who just came back from multiple knee ligament injuries. So what do? Play more 2 tight end sets. Wentz already liked to lean on the tight end. Last week in his first game back, he targeted the tight end position 17 times, all right? That's not like an anomaly. That's what made Trey Burton and Zach Ertz so viable last year. We've seen Burton do some things in Chicago, but now I'm starting to think it's just more of the way Wentz likes to play football, and that's totally fine. Because Ertz and Burton took a slight step back when Nick Foles entered the lineup last year. So if Carson Wentz is going to prefer the tight end, nobody is owning Dallas Goedert right now. So in deeper leagues, if you can get essentially the third weapon in the Eagles offense, that's something you should do right now. When it comes to streaming defenses this week, it's all about opportunities, right? The first one is Seattle. They haven't always looked their best this season, but they are at Arizona for Josh Rosen's debut as a starter. Now, Seattle isn't what they used to be in coverage, but they do have Frank Clark, a very legitimate pass rusher in the NFL. So they can put pressure on the young quarterback, force him to make mistakes in his debut. You're never going to catch a better spot, a rookie making their first start. Seattle's an undervalued defense, so it's feasible that you could go pick them up right now and start them this week. The next one is the Chargers, and a lot of people were hot on the Chargers, but after they got blown out in multiple games this season, there's a chance that you could find them on free agency, and I'm recommending them because they get the 49ers. CJ Beathard, first week without Jimmy Garoppolo. They're going to be lost, dazed, and confused. There's no better time to pick up the Chargers defense, and the 49ers are going to be the new team that we stream against throughout the year. It was the Bills, right? Maybe it was the Browns with Tyrod, but now it's going to be the 49ers until they prove us otherwise because they instantly have the worst quarterback in the league, and that's who we want to stream against. So they got CJ Beathard, and now they got the target on their back. We love it! The last streaming defense I can recommend this week is the Green Bay Packers. They're at home against Josh Allen and the Bills. Now, you may have seen what Josh Allen did against the Vikings, and I'm worried about it too, but the way I think about it is like this. A rookie quarterback doesn't get the whole playbook. There are plays in the Bills' playbook designed for Josh Allen. One-read rollouts, design runs, things to get him moving, things to get him open receivers and make easy throws. And that's fine and dandy. Maybe the Vikings weren't ready for that. But now the Packers have a whole week to study what worked for the Bills and to plan to counter. Now, Josh Allen goes into Lambeau against an aggressive defense. Clay Matthews loves hitting quarterbacks, maybe a little too much, and we'll see what Josh Allen can do, see if the rookie can string two really good performances together. I don't think he can. Regression time. I've got two streaming quarterbacks this week, and the first one's a no-brainer. It's Baker Mayfield, right? If a team in the league doesn't have the roster spot to pick up Baker Mayfield, you should be that team because the upside is tremendous. He's got multiple talented wide receivers, a functioning running game, and a defense with a really strong pass rush, right? Tyrod Taylor had decent numbers, including QB6 week 1, bolstered by his rushing upside, but he was also holding the ball too long and missing big throws, right? Baker is going to take those deep throws, and if he hits them, he becomes insanely viable. He's got a great release, he's very accurate, and he's worth at least one stream this week at Oakland because the Raiders don't have a strong pass rush, right? They got lit up by Ryan Tannehill last week, especially on deep passes. Kenny Stills caught a deep one, right? So a team that doesn't have a strong pass rush is going to allow Baker to sit in the pocket, go through his progression, and make plays. It may be a tough road matchup for a rookie debut, but I'm confident enough in Mayfield and in the Browns' skill position players to ensure a quality start. The last streamer I want to suggest this week is Eli Manning, and this is not a homer pick, right? Manning had a really strong game against the Texans, and it's because of a slight game plan shift by Pat Shurmur and the Giants. The Giants went empty set, no backs, only receivers, just Eli, on 8 plays against Houston. J.J. Watt got a sack on one of them, but Eli was 7 for 7 on the other plays. It's clear that Shurmur is slowly figuring out how best to use Eli, how best to scheme Odell Beckham open, and that can only benefit the Giants' offense. This week, they're home against the Saints, who have really struggled in coverage. They're the team that got lit up by Tyrod Taylor, and last week, they gave up 5 touchdowns to an at-will Atlanta Falcons offense. So the Giants are a great pick to win at home. It could be a high-scoring affair, especially if the Giants can continue to develop their new offense, get Odell Beckham open into space, and that starts with Eli Manning. That's it for waivers and streamers. Come back tomorrow. We're going to have a Thursday night football preview. It's a good one. Vikings, Rams. Me and Big Play Coach Jay from Daily Fantasy Insider. Hey, you watch our streams Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday? Check out the Boombox. Don't know what that is? Guess you got to watch to find out. Your loss. Enjoy your week.